What is the most powerful thing that can ever exist? Not a character, not a god, not even a universe. Today we are going far beyond all of that, beyond dimensions, beyond fiction, beyond existence itself. We are ranking the 12 vastest, most incomprehensible concepts ever conceived by mathematics, philosophy, and metaphysics. The lower the number, the stronger and more absolute the concept. Let's begin at the bottom and descend toward what lies beyond everything. Physicist Tedmark proposed the mathematical universe hypothesis, the idea that every mathematically consistent structure doesn't just describe a reality, it is a reality. Every equation that can exist without contradiction is a living universe somewhere in the grand structure of existence. This means infinitely many universes with different laws of physics, different dimensions, different logical structures, all equally real, all equally vast. Most people can't even fathom a single universe. Tedmark says there are as many universes as there are consistent mathematical structures, a number beyond anything you could name. This is our starting point, and it's already incomprehensible. Georg Cantor, the father of set theory, discovered something terrifying. There are different sizes of infinity: countable infinity, uncountable infinity, infinities of infinities, stacked forever. But at the very top of all of these sits absolute infinity, denoted the totality of all infinities combined. It is so large it cannot be measured by any transfinite cardinal or ordinal number. Any attempt to mathematically reach it just produces another smaller infinity far below it. It transcends the entire hierarchy of mathematical largeness. Even Tedmark's multiverse of infinite structures is just a tiny fragment compared to the true, absolute infinity of mathematics. Philosopher David Lewis proposed model realism, the idea that every logically possible world is real, not metaphorically real, literally, concretely, physically real, just causally exhalated from our world. Extended model realism goes further, not just worlds with different histories, but worlds with entirely different logics, different physical constants, different space-time geometries altogether. Every universe that could possibly exist does exist, a plurality of concrete realities beyond imagination. This surpasses Tedmark's framework because it is grounded not in mathematical structures but in pure logical possibility, which is an even broader foundation. Here we step beyond science and philosophy into the realm of narrative ontology. Fiction itself refers to the entire layer of existence occupied by stories, myths, narratives, and fictional worlds. Every book ever written, every movie ever made, every dream ever dreamed, every tale ever told across all civilizations and all possible realities. Characters here don't merely live in a universe, they exist on a narrative plane where the author's will is absolute law. The entirety of even extended model realism could be fictional. Content within this layer, the power of fiction itself lies in its metaposition. It doesn't exist inside realities. It contains realities as stories. All possible realities is not just one multiverse or one model framework. It is the absolute sum of every reality that can possibly exist under any framework of possibility. Every multiverse theory, every model logic system, every fictional plane, every mathematical structure, if it is possible in any coherent sense, it is included here. This transcends any single system's definition of possibility. It is the grand totality of the conceivable, the hard ceiling of what could be. Nothing that is possible is excluded. This is the first true leap beyond formal frameworks into raw ontological totality. This is where the scale shatters conventional thinking entirely. Not just all that is possible, but all that is impossible as well. Contradictions, paradoxes, realities where 2 plus 2 fit, realities where something both exists and does not exist simultaneously, realities where logic itself breaks down, inverts, or ceases to function entirely. In paraconsistent and dialetheist philosophy, even impossible states can occupy a kind of ontological space. All possible and impossible realities encompasses everything, the logically valid and the logically forbidden alike. It is beyond any rule, beyond any law. Even the laws of impossibility are swallowed within it. Here we reach something more fundamental than any set of realities, the very fact that anything exists at all. Existence itself is not a collection of things that exist. It is the underlying condition, the ontological ground, the primordial is from which all things possible and impossible, real and fictional draw their being. Aristotle called this being the study of existence as its own pure phenomenon, prior to all categorization. This is not a universe, not a multiverse, not even a concept with a boundary. It is the raw fact of existence before all structure. Everything else on this list exists within existence itself, and yet there are still higher tiers. Mathematical infinity, as vast as it is still a concept within a formal system, which means it has limits by definition. The philosophical true infinity transcends this entirely. In Hegelian metaphysics, the true infinite is not a quantity. It is the self-complete totality that contains its own negation within itself. It has no outside, no limit, no boundary that could even theoretically define it. The moment you attempt to describe what it is not, that negation is already absorbed inside it. It is infinite in the deepest possible sense, not just numerically endless, but ontologically boundless, logically self-containing, philosophically absolute. No transfinite number even approaches it. It does not grow because it was never incompleted. Beyond existence, beyond infinity, beyond all possible and impossible realities, there is the ultimate nature of everything. This is not a description of what things are. It is the deepest, structural, the final truth, the irreducible metaphysical fabric underlying every form of reality, every mode of being, every principle of logic and existence. Whatever it truly means for anything to be real, for any distinction to exist, for any force or law or void to hold, that foundation is this. It cannot be defined from within any system, because all systems are expressions of it. It is the answer to why is there something rather than nothing, not as a cause but as the deepest possible ground. Saint Anselm defined God as that than which nothing greater can be conceived. The ultimate being is the personification of this principle taken to its absolute limit, an entity so supremely perfect that even the concept of something greater is logically self-defeating. It possesses all perfections in infinite measure, omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence, not as properties it holds, but as what it simply is. It doesn't merely exist, it is the reason existence itself is possible. It doesn't merely know everything, knowing and being collapse into the same thing at this level. The ultimate being is not contained by any framework. It is the reason frameworks have coherence at all, and yet even this is surpassed. Increasing totality is one of the most mind-bending concepts on this entire list. It is not a fixed totality, it is a totality that is always becoming more total, endlessly, without limit, without ceiling. Each state of this totality already surpasses every previous absolute, every ultimate being, every ground of being, every philosophical infinity. The moment it has contained them all, it expands again. It is the concept of an absolute that refuses to be an absolute, forever outpacing any attempt to summarize or contain it. In power-scaling terms, it renders any fixed power level instantly and permanently obsolete the moment it is established. No ceiling can hold it. No definition can catch it. And here we arrive at the summit of all summits. The set of everything, absolute totality, is not merely a collection of all that exists. It is not limited to all possible and impossible realities. It is not bounded by the philosophical infinite. It is not surpassed by the increasing totality, because the increasing totality is within it. It contains everything that exists, everything that doesn't exist, every concept, every nothing, every framework, every negation of every framework, every layer of meta-reality, every definition, and every undefinability, including itself, and including the very concept of beyond itself. You cannot stand outside it to observe it. You cannot think a thought that is not within it. You cannot define a limit to it, because that limit is already within it. You cannot say it is infinite, because infinite is just one more thing it contains. The set of everything is the only concept that requires no justification, no container, no predecessor. It simply is. All of it. Completely. Finally. Absolutely. This is the end of the scale, the wall beyond which no concept has meaning, because meaning itself is one small room in a structure that has no outside. From the mathematical multiverse of Max Tegmark, to the dynamic, ever-expanding, increasing totality, to the silent, infinite, utterly encompassing set of everything, we have crossed the entire scale of conceivable magnitude. These are not power levels of characters. These are the raw ontological tiers of reality itself.